Welcome to CTV News Trendline with Michael Stittle and Nik Nanos.
The show is called Trendline, so let's look at the trend line for the Nanos seat projections that we do every month. Check out the Conservatives. They basically have been in an upward trajectory since the summer. They're up to 166 seats that we've declared if the election were held today, they would win. Liberals down to 55 seats. Remember, Conservatives need 169 to win out of the 338, so they're there in terms of declared. But the thing is factoring the seats that they're leading in, they're comfortably into majority territory. And the key takeaway here: not a lot of big differences for the New Democrats or the Bloc, the Green Party, or the People's Party. It's that trend line where you can see the blue trend line is going up, the red trend line is going down. But check out some of these regional distributions. You can see that the Liberals are down 64 seats, the Conservatives up 61 seats, most of that in Ontario and Atlantic Canada, where basically it's a Liberal decline and a Conservative pickup. I guess the one thing is there's still 76 seats that are too close to call in the Nanos seat projection, so maybe there's a little bit of wiggle room, but the trajectory is pretty clear at this particular point in time, and the swings that have taken place, especially in Ontario and Atlantic Canada, are very clear.
Let's dig into that. Obviously, big change in Ontario, but let's fly over to the West Coast and zoom in on British Columbia. How are things there?
Well, the color change kind of says it all. On the left is the model estimates for Nanos in December. On the right is the 2021 election, and you can see on the right, not a lot of blue, lots of red, actually oodles of red and little spots of orange for the New Democrats. But what we're seeing, at least in Vancouver and Greater Vancouver, is that the Conservatives are poised to pick up a number of ridings. The NDP are holding on and still leading in a number, but look, there's only one riding in the Surrey area that we project that the Liberals will hold on to. And not great news for the Liberal Party in Vancouver when you're looking at how things are shaping up, at least currently in the December seat projections that we do.
Nik, going over the prairies, I'm going to guess not too much has changed.
Yeah, not a lot, but I do want to focus on Edmonton. If we do like a pull up on Edmonton, obviously there's a sea of blue around Edmonton. But right now, the Conservatives are challenging the Liberals in one seat, and also challenging the New Democrats in a seat, where we have two of the seats in the northern part of Edmonton that are too close to call at this particular time. So with the NDP firmly holding one. So if the Conservatives were strong in the prairies, they continue to be strong, and they'll probably pick up a couple seats, assuming that the trend continues into 2024.
For Ontario, you've already said there's a pretty big change. I'm guessing that's in the GTA.
Yeah, for sure. On the right-hand side, when we look at the last federal election in the GTA, especially, that the Liberals just did extremely well. But now what we're seeing are the Conservatives picking up in the Oakvilles and Mississaugas. Ridings in Vaughan are also good for the Conservatives. Even in Kitchener, you can see Kitchener, we have too close to call right now, although the Greens currently have a hold in Kitchener based on the seat projections. But when we look at those ridings outside of Kitchener, the Guelph and so forth, the Conservatives picking them up. Also, the Conservatives potentially picking up seats in London. And when you go into like the St. Catharines, Niagara Falls area, you can see a loss for the Liberals and a pickup for the Conservatives. So not great news for the Liberal Party right now in the GTA. And you know what? If the GTA ends up unraveling, this is just where the Liberals are today. Who knows where they'll be when the election happens? But man, if there is an election held today for when we look at these seat projections, especially in Ontario, it would be ugly for the Liberals.
I'm curious, just in Toronto, if we're seeing a strengthening NDP anywhere that might be putting Liberal seats at risk.
Yeah, some of those ones in some of those seats in downtown Toronto, you can see spots of black and orange in the downtown are actually seats that the New Democrats could pick up at the expense of the Liberals. So when we're in the old city of Toronto, it's NDP Liberal with the NDP challenging the Liberals much more than they have compared to 2021. But when we step out and get into the burbs and the GTA, that's when the Conservatives are not only picking up seats, but are challenging the Liberals to pick up even more seats.
Next door in Quebec, Nik, I think you've seen some interesting things happening in Quebec City.
Yeah, Quebec, not a lot of change. Quebec's still good for the Liberals because the island of Montreal is still good. I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a zoom in on Quebec City because, what's interesting here is that, yeah, the Conservatives are holding on to what they've got. The Liberals are holding on to what they've got compared to the last election. But look at the Bloc. The Bloc are potentially at risk with two ridings in the greater Quebec City area. Where they could potentially lose them with two ridings that are too close to call, with challenges from the Conservatives. So this might be fertile territory for Pierre Poilievre, not to pick up a boatload of seats in Quebec, but perhaps knock off one or two and add them to the vote tally, which helps move them into majority territory.
Now in Atlantic Canada, Nik, where the Liberals put a pause on carbon tax on home heating oil, I'm curious if that budged the needle at all for them.
I think so. They talk about the carve out, where the Liberals carved out an exemption for heating oil in Atlantic Canada. Just shows that maybe not much of a payoff for this, and it speaks to how angry a lot of voters in Atlantic Canada are. When you look at the right, the Liberals did, at least in 2021, fairly decently in Atlantic Canada. But you can see that ridings like Fredericton moving into the blue column, St. John too close to call right now, and but check out Nova Scotia. The Liberals had a number of ridings, including very strong, picked up all the ridings in Cape Breton. Well, you can see that the Conservatives basically in Nova Scotia are either picking up seats or challenging seats. And how about I'll call it liberal or very red looking in 2021, Prince Edward Island. Basically right now the Conservatives are going to pick up or challenge. They pick up one and challenge in two ridings in Prince Edward Island. So not great news. So think of Atlantic Canada and Ontario as two of the key regions, including British Columbia, where Conservatives are picking up seats at the expense of the Liberals and are challenging the Liberals in a lot of these ridings.